Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, or good night, wherever you are. Today, you're joining us for the fourth round of the Constructors Championship running on Tuesdays for RWB International, sponsored by Racing Sims Tools. I'm Josh, and with me, well, we have Racer, and we've also got Lammers as well. Oh, I didn't catch your actual name.
It's Rob, sorry.
No worries, so it's me, Josh, Rob, and Racer. Here today at Kyalami for, as I said, the fourth round of the Constructors Championship. So hey guys, how are you guys doing?
For once, Rob is not calling from bus, train, tube, or any kind of public transport.
No, I'm actually in my bedroom / home office as we speak, back at my parents' house in Somerset. So yeah, it does make a change to be in front of a much bigger screen than just my mobile phone for once.
Oh, you do know that means the quality has to go right up. You know, you've got no excuses today.
Oh,
Rob, just pull up your Radio Le Mans strategies.
oh crikey! The the keys to the Constructors Championship races at Kyalami then.
Just insight, if someone is watching the races that are being produced by Radio Le Mans or anything related to IMSA, they might have heard just the name Rob. This is the guy that brings all of this to your screens.
Damn, that's
Yes.
some resume compared to the rest of us.
So
Yes,
we've got
and
seasoned professional with us right now.
we really well. I wouldn't go so far to call myself a seasoned professional racer. It's awfully kind of you to say that, but no.
So
This is the
currently,
first
right
time
now,
I've commentated. Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Shall we pay attention to the qualifying that is taking place?
Yes, I was just
Yes.
about to say that. It's currently qualifying right now with James Lacey in the number 20 car, currently on pole position. I believe he's in the Porsche. With Aaron Araday coming in P2 with Radek Schiller in that Honda, currently in P3. It is qualifying with about 7.5 minutes to go. But yeah, guys, how do you think qualifying's going so far from what we can see? It looks awfully busy on track right now.
Is this thing live?
Oh, Lanzim is doing it again.
It might be.
Oh, for the love of sweet fuck.
Wait.
It is doing it again.
Oh no, wait, it is live, but we are on the GT 2021 season, not the...
You know what? We'll
it's
take
gonna
it.
work.
We'll take it. So yes, as usual, some technical difficulties on our end, but we are slowly getting. At least we're going live at the correct time this time round. But yes, guys, how are you finding the qualifying so far?
Open. Really, really open. Looking at the list of manufacturers in the top 12 so far, I can see there's 2 Hondas, 2 Audis, and 2 McLarens, and then 6 other manufacturers from what I can make out on my end. So it looks as if it's going to be incredibly close on track, and a sure sign that the BOP is working as intended, given the sheer mixture of cars, as the number 996 Audi just goes to the top of the timesheets with a 1 minute 40.962. Sorry, 926, excuse me.
Oh, and that's quite a surprising one. It's Aaron Ariday, the former BMW Young Drivers program from the Constructors member. He has been lured by Audi for this season, going to the top, and we haven't seen much from him in that respect, so that's quite a good one. But then we have the classics, the Radek Schiller, James Lacey, also Martin Schaefer jumping on quite a few positions in the Bentley, so that's nice to see from him. And also a couple of new names. But then the other names like Emma Plate being down in P13, Nate Newcomer P17, it just shows how closely packed this is, that even people who are known to be at the top somehow find themselves at the bottom. And with this
Yeah.
being Kyalami, maybe some, we can have some Kyalami specialists, people who really enjoy the track and know it inside out, and they can let themselves shine.
Yeah, this is perfect opportunity for Radek Schuller, who's currently P2 in the standings, and he's only 5 points overall in the standings behind Mo Plate, who's in P1, and Plate down in P13. That's not going to be great for him. Looks like Radek might actually be able to pull away and actually take the top spot in terms of overall standings. So it's fantastic news for him, but not so much for Plate.
This is gonna go so good for Honda, as they are chasing Lexus for the P1 in Constructors.
Yeah, come on, Lexus. Come on, boys.
VTEC, yo!
Yeah, and it's one other thing I've actually just noticed looking at the gaps on the timesheet is that between it's still okay. There's a couple of temps in it between first and second at the moment, but the number 20 Porsche in third place is just over half a second off the fastest time so far set by the number 996 Audi.
Yeah, it's absolutely brutal with these timings. I don't know what Araday and Schuller have done, but they've just found some pace somewhere that's put them a bit ahead of everyone else. So it's great news for them, but yeah, everyone else is going to be playing catch up trying to find that pace.
And crucially, there's also not a lot of time as well between the end of qualifying and the start of the first race here at Kyalami as well. There's only going to be a few minutes tops in it, so any setup changes are going to have to be made pretty quickly, I'd imagine.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of these guys have been doing some practice with the tyre temps because it's a very static weather forecast we have today for the races. But Kyalami is high above Johannesburg, so when the time does change, and it is 4 times time speed as well here, so when the temperature when the sun gets lower or gets higher, the track temp changes drastically. So yeah, tyre temps are going to change massively, tyre pressures, especially in the longer race one.
Well, if you speak only of temperatures, the race that was held on Saturday on the same track in the GT 2021 season, all was fine. It was dry for practice, no wind, and then in the loading screen was just advancing hour, maybe 2, and it just was pouring down with rain. You should have heard the voice chat, everybody going, "Oh no!"
Well, it makes it more entertaining for us anyway. Anyhow, yeah, with that, currently looking at Crawford Brown, who's a reserve driver from Honda, as far as I can tell. He's currently following him in P6. But yeah, there's also, with the track being relatively short compared to Nürburgring, a lot of these drivers are bunching up. We're seeing a bunch of especially earlier on, we were seeing a number of cars quite bunched up. You can see on the track map in the top right of the screen as Entenza ends his lap. They're all quite bunched up, which isn't great when you're trying to set a good lap. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of drivers abort their laps rather than going out for a final one.
And in addition to that, I noticed a couple of minutes ago on the more race control screen I have that there had been the number 20 Porsche and the number 90 had actually I think had some kind of minor coming together of sort on circuits. There's a notification saying that both cars had been involved in an accident, so whether that was simply a case of one driver aborting their lap and the other driver maybe not realizing that other driver had actually aborted their lap, but it remains to be seen. So
Yeah, it is brutal when they're out there, but yeah, but we'll see how it goes, and hopefully it all works out.
And speaking of which, number 3 Honda has just put in a very late one indeed, to go up to 3rd place on a 141.4.
Damn, Crawford. He's putting in some real work.
And speaking of which, the number 996 Audi at the end of the session, just to really rub it in a bit, has gone even quicker, down to a 1 minute 40.767, as I've just had another driver improving their lap times. I didn't quite catch who that was, unfortunately.
That would be Shula.
Yeah, Schuler's gone quicker as well, that final lap, as well as Martin Schaefer as well, putting himself in P5. A lot of people setting their fast times at the end, actually.
The number 71 McLaren of MO Plate has just moved up to 8th as well on a 141.
Well, but seeing from the few last races, it's not all about qualifying pace. I think it was in the second meeting that we had, I don't know where was that at this point, but it was Radek Shula. Oh yeah, what's the Donington, where Radek Shula managed to get past Evo Plate on the start at both times. So you might be on pole, but it is not given that you're gonna have a win on your plate for the race.
Ah, I get it. MO plates and plates.
I did not make that on purpose, trust me. I was just trying to find words in my head.
Don't worry, I got you, Jake. I got you back. So as we now wait for the race to start, drivers get I think it's a 2-minute break in between end of qualifying and the start of a race, so they can have a very quick driver briefing. They can go off, have a slash, grab a drink before they get underway with race 1. And if you are watching, you've got some time to go and load up pitwall.live on Google Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari. Is that a thing still? You can go off and load that up and you'll see the live timings as we do. I believe Rob's actually got pitwall.live up right now, so that's what he's watching to give you all the intel that he gives you. So yeah.
It is indeed what I am using to try and keep an eye on the live timing and any notifications of any incidents that pop up on the race control panel. It's a really, really cool and useful tool to have as well for trying to make sense of what's going on in the race, especially when there's over 20 cars on track. You can see who's where. And
so with that, just a quick rundown of the cars before we get underway. We have Aaron Araday in P1 with Radek Schuler aligning alongside in P2. Crawford Brown sits on the second row of James Lacey. Martin Schaefer in P5 with Don Jordan sitting in P6. Jacob Tarantino sits in P7 with Emo Plate in P8, fighting for that championship lead if he can. P9 is Nathaniel Shirley, with Samuel Kruger sitting in P10. We've then got Sergio Lemke sitting in P11 with Daniel Barnett in P12, Wilk in 13, and Newcomer in 14. 15 is Kai Banks, who's a little usually higher up, but he's currently P3 in standing, so he's going to want to try and make positions forward. Merchant sits in P16 with Debug in 17, Cops in 18. We have Dominic Mizajewski in P19 with Mad Out in P20. Seb Terence-Halvich sits in P21 with Xavier Eugeni, as usual, in the BMW, sitting in P22. Miguel Intenza sits in P23 with Martin Pace sitting in P24 with Pinpoint beside and Eddie Warden standing in P26 as a reserve driver. Simon Trebek sits in P27 with Shepard in P28, Nielsen in 29th with Will Day rounding out the top 30. Billy Hutchison is in P31 with Gianni Lenz in P32. Mats Sjoblom sits in P33 and yeah. I'm just scrolling down if I can. There we go. P34 is Magnus Dahlgren, Rock Cops in P35, and rounding out this grid in P36 is Nico Perez. Just in time for them to head off underway towards the start-finish line. It's quite a long one, relatively, for them to get to the green lights.
Yeah, and we already have someone in the pits. Etenza in the 59 Bentley probably forgot to press the drive. So he will be starting this one from the pit lane. As our top two are lining up already on the grid. Everyone neatly in a snake behind each other. We are awaiting the lights out for the race one.
And here they come now. That is lights out in a second. Jeez, always catches me every time. Very late lights out as they still cross the start-finish line, but that's them heading down now towards turn 1 at Crowthorne. We've got Araday covering the inside, but looks like Schuller's managed to get round the outside sneakily. Lacey going around the outside as well, Schuller of Araday, but doesn't quite stick it. We've got a very sideways Lexus there of Jordan, but he manages to keep it in one piece. We've got Crawford diving down the inside into Barbecue, but keeps it nice and tucked in behind Lacey. No incidents there, and we're looking further back, and it doesn't look like there's any incidents from what I can see behind.
Oh, I think there was a bit of a coming together at the first corner as the notifications has gone a bit crazy, to put it mildly, as everybody was all trying to go for the same piece of track at Crowthorne as
I think that was Emma plate. Because I don't see Emma anywhere near the top 20 positions, and I saw orange blob spinning around. So I guess it was Plate and Kruger coming together in turn 1.
There was, well, the list of cars that, according to the incidents tracker, have been involved in an incident are the 52, the 77, the 79, 22, 2, 999, the 7, the 19, the 102, the 1, 21, and oh blimey, the 14, 79, 73, and the 4 have all been involved in various incidents there in the opening few corners here at Kyalami, as the leaders are already making their way around the final corners.
What the fuck was that?
As we look at Perez, 21st place in the BMW.
Did you hear that as well?
No. Is it another gunshot from me?
Yes.
I have no idea what that is. It's no champagne popping this time, but I'm still here and alive.
Okay, that's good. That's a progress.
Yeah. Speaking of progress, that's Perez going past Pater, it looks like, in the Schaeffler BMW there. Lovely livery. I wonder who did that.
I don't know. I went few aneurysms during making of that. But if it helps Nico in being faster, then it's really good cause.
Yeah, it's that special Red Bull paint, isn't it?
It's designed to go fast.
So, looking up further ahead at the drivers who are going blisteringly quick, we've still got Schuller ahead in P1 with Araday dropping into P2. So those two had that switcheroo at the beginning. But we're currently following Tarantino with Lemke behind. Those two are supposed to be on the same team, so I wonder if there's a bit of communication between the two of them, so that Tarantino can go ahead and push on with Shirley. Meanwhile, Shirley's busy trying to push on Schaefer, so that they can try and make a position and hopefully get up further ahead.
Well, Martin is not gonna be that easy to get by, but he has the mindset of, you could say, the mindset of a machine, where he's like, okay, go by if you're faster, and let me just make the fastest race possible. So he will be definitely calculating with that, thinking what will be the best for him. And defense will certainly be one of those options.
Currently looking now at James Lacey trying to defend into Sunset. You can see Crawford making a little bit of a look down the inside, but that's not really a corner that you can get much of a lunge on, as it's not that heavy of a braking zone. But you can see them concertinaing now going through Clubhouse as they head on to the S's. Not very imaginative names for S's, are they?
Well, they look like an S. So
they do look like an S. I think it might be Legacy is one of the original corner names from when Kyalami was first opened back in the 1960s, which is why when they renovated the circuit a few years ago now, they brought back the Yukskai sweep, even though it's not really the corner it once was, to say the least.
Although one corner that's always amazing is this one here, the cheetah with that massive sausage on the inside that can send drivers all the way off into the gravel trap and even spinning across the track.
Talking about spinning across the track, that's National Shirley taking the curb of doom and going through the gravel trap in a Ferrari of all cars. That's surprising to me because I find the Ferrari to be one of the better cars to go through the chicane, since you have those two tiny metal beams going across the windshield, and you can just use them to position yourself in the correct place so you don't hit the curb.
We're currently watching Kai Banks trying to go around the outside at Crowthorne. Beautiful defending, trying to avoid the slipstream, but of course that means Kruger has the inside now for barbecue. Brilliant bit of driving from both of them, giving them the room, but it looks like Kai has the slipstream as they head on now to Sunset.
And Sunset Corner is one of those corners where you can really feel the aero on a modern GT3 car at its absolute best as well, because those of us with long enough memories can remember the original breed of GT3 cars, and they had very little in the way of aerodynamics, especially compared to the current cars we're able to watch here in this race at Kyalami with 18 minutes and 47 seconds to go.
And with that, the pit window is also open now for drivers to go in and try and get the undercut.
Would you go for the undercut though with grid this big? If you are near the front end in the top 10, maybe in top 15, you don't want to go in early because you're just gonna get yourself stuck in the traffic. The same way Godzilla is stuck behind Samuel Kruger, but if he goes into the pit lane, he's gonna be stuck behind even slower drivers. So it's only about trying to hang on for as long as he can. Maybe just putting on a surprise move, forcing the error from Samuel Kruger. Just seeing what happens.
Yeah, currently seeing Xavier Eugenie. I hope he's not trying to defend off Warden. I hope those two are being respectful to each other, but they're currently chasing down Trebek. Be interesting to see if Eugenie can compromise Trebek and let Warden through, or vice versa.
And just a quick note from onto the field, the number 20 Porsche has just set the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 41.052. It's currently third place overall at the moment, and it's still quite close amongst the top three. It's only 1.7 seconds separating them at the moment, but it's still early days here at Kyalami, as there's been an incident involving the 23, which I'll have to...
That's Cops, I believe, in P20 currently, according to my screen. But yeah.
He's got the number 10 car of Nico Perez right on his tail coming through as they come through the S's on the other side of the circuit.
It is for Kai Banks.
Yeah, I was very well recovered through Cheetah there by Kai Banks. I'm surprised he managed to keep it on the track with that. That's amazing skill through that.
That's definitely god awful moment there from Banksy.
We've got our first pit stop, by the way, by Xavier Eugenie. He's gone for the early pit stop, so we'll see if it works out for him.
And of course, the two BMWs were running really close together on track as well. So maybe this is a chance to free up some clean air for the team car as well.
Here's hoping. Currently looking at Nico Perez sitting in P20 with Daniel Barnett following closely behind. Having raced Barnett and Perez, this could be a good battle actually between the two of them. They're both quite respectful and Daniel Barnett's quite a good laugh to race against.
We shall see. Nico will need to make that M6 as wide as possible, defending to the inside line. And the corners that are around Kyalami do not allow for much of outside running, although Daniel Barnett is trying to go around there. It is not possible. GT3s have lots of downforce, but they just don't have enough downforce to keep you on there, as there is a crash behind that looks to be... who's that? Gianni Lenz and Marcus Dahlgren, I do believe, as they go side by side into the hairpin. It was... Or maybe it was even Kevin Shepard, probably. But we saw the Ferrari just getting onto the outside, onto the gravel, spinning around, and Lenz just did not have any place to go.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for that. But it happens. But it looks like Barnett has managed to squeeze past on the inside at Crocodiles as they go through cheeses now with the position swap. But then there comes the rear engine balance throwing Barnett off, which is great news for Perez as he keeps P20.
The curb strikes again.
That's the problem with the Porsche. It's a pendulum. So when it goes, but it does have fantastic traction out of corners.
Yeah. And it's not really as important here compared to some other circuits, but having a car which can ride the curbs really can play quite nicely as well as a driver. So if you've got something, and traditionally it tends to be the more front engine cars that do better over the curbs. And so having something like the BMW or the Bentley or the Lexus could be an advantage through that section of track. In fact, one of the Lexuses, the 69, is currently in 5th place at the moment as we speak.
Well, speaking of this track, you don't want to touch the curbs that much. Most of them would really unsettle the car or just aren't worth taking the risk. Like, for example, in the S's, you kinda wanna take the curbs, but you wanna take them like halfway, that you just slide over them. But it's not as easy to perform. It can gain you so much time, and it's so satisfying when you just hook the car onto the curb and it shoots you out of the corner. I just love this circuit.
This is definitely one of my favorites, if not my absolute favorite track on ACC. It's just got such a nice flow to it with loads of overtaking places, or even places where you can pressure the driver in front to make a mistake. So it's just absolutely brilliant for me. I absolutely love Kyalami.
It just has everything. Imagine.
From what I understand as well, it's a really popular circuit amongst the drivers who compete in the Intercontinental GT Challenge as well in real life. They all think it's still, despite the modern safety upgrades that have been made over the last few years, it still retains that kind of old school charm and that old school feel to it as well.
Yeah, I kind of hope Formula One don't go back to Kyalami, because otherwise they'd have to make even more safety improvements and, of course, change cheaters. So we're seeing Dahlgren getting very, very happy, squeezing Lemke on the outside, but keeping it nice and clean, respectful between the two, which gives him the perfect line through to pull away again.
And that was beautiful squeezing there from Dahlgren, gave Lemke just enough space for a Lamborghini to squeeze into, but he did not give him any opportunity going into the corner, and even putting him so much to the outside caused him to lose the position to his teammate Jakub Tarantino. All of this happening in the rear view mirror of Nico Perez, who has been holding off the Porsche before. Now he has a Ferrari behind him, and let's see what happens further. Maybe if he gets past, will the curb strike again? To the start-finish straight we go, and the Ferrari into the slipstream. And Ferrari being one of the... not even one of the better cars in a straight line, it's just an all-around good car. I wouldn't say that there's anything going for it, but there's a dive into a dive. As Jacob Tarantino dived under the Ferrari of Dahlgren, and Dahlgren tried to dive on the inside of Perez. So it's just everyone taking pop shots onto each other. This is literal war zone going on behind the BMW.
One for Tarantino and Lemke is they've both pitted, so the two ahead, they haven't pitted, so effectively they're losing time to the positions ahead. But of course that's Tarantino looking like he's trying to let Lemke through, or it's Lemke going for an opportunity at having a shot at his teammates.
Yeah, it can pay dividends as well to maybe if your teammate thinks they can make the pass stick, to let your teammate through and let them have a crack at it and try and follow them through in the aftermath. So it's quite clever strategy going on here from the Lamborghini duo.
That's kind of surprising to me. Then why does Marcus Dahlgren defend? He has all of the right to defend, but it kind of seems counterproductive to his race since he will lose the pit stop to the cars behind anyway. And he's just slowing himself down and putting himself into bad positions that he does not need to be. And there was a collision with him and Jacob Tarantino, and you could see that coming already from the racing they've been doing.
It was a big hit as well into the wall coming out of Cheetah, and the marshals were waving the white flags to indicate a slow-moving car on the circuit. And I did see a car just then pull into the pits. It was Dahlgren in the Ferrari, pulling in, presumably to either make his pit stop or because of the damage sustained to the number 90 Ferrari as a result of that collision.
Well,
this is kind of interesting. We've got Kai Banks trying to fend off BMW and Lexus, who are both on the same team. So it's kind of interesting to see if they'll recognize they're on the same team, or if they'll just keep pushing and racing each other to try and get past Kai Banks.
Knowing what racing drivers are like, you'd hope so, but they're racing drivers. So
yeah, it never happens, does it?
You're right, it never happens. So
well, I guess I know we are teammates. I know we are a team, but I'm driving faster. Get out of here. And Banksy doing a good job right now, holding on to the P14 in front of the American in the Lexus.
Lexus taking a slightly wider line through Learkop there, maybe to try and square off the exit of the corner, get a better run onto the down through mineshaft towards the Crocodiles, where we come to now. And the 102 BMW of Warden is also right with them.
Yeah, as they come down now, the main straight, start-finish straight coming up to Crowthorne now. Turn 2, although I still think it's turn 1, the kink is in the corner. But heavy braking from Warden gets right up to the back of Newcomer. But Newcomer's, yeah, they're on the same team, so please don't take each other out. But yeah, Newcomer's still trying to take any shot he can at Kai Banks as they go through Barbecue now on towards Sunset.
Well, it's not a corner depending on from which part of the world you are.
It's not a corner. It's just not.
Yeah, I agree, it's not. Justin Beachley trying to be funny in the chat. If you go for a gap that doesn't exist, you can call yourself a sim racer. Sarah, probably. Don't quote me on things I didn't say, Sun Tzu.
Meanwhile, the 52 Ferrari has just gone up into third place. I've noticed the car driven by Nathaniel Shirley has just passed the Honda, the Audi, and another Honda. So that says to me they have pitted, and there are a few drivers at the top of the overall standings there, 6th, 7th, and 8th, who have either pitted or are in the pits as we speak, as there's not long left in the pit window. So if you haven't pitted yet, then you really only have about one more lap, depending on where you are on the circuit, to get the pit stop done.
Well, I think at this point you should be going to the pit lane. You can't make another lap. Probably those that are in the lead can just make it. Nico Perez will be definitely cutting it close, who is currently in P10.
They come through Sunset Bend as we look at the number 79 Aston Martin, currently running in 26th place according to the overall timing, although that hasn't updated yet. The Honda NSX of Al is in front of him on the circuit, 27th place for the Aston Martin, and it has just updated on the overall as well.
Yeah, that was Dominik Mierzejewski, and he made quite surprising coming to the race in the previous event, where he managed to get on the pole in his first event as a reserve driver, nonetheless, for the Aston Martin. But small incidents occurred at the start of the first race that demoted him down, which wasn't the best start, and also some unfortunate moments in the race too. But he made quite a good first impression there, although this time around it is not as good as it was last week. Maybe just an off race for him this time around, and it'll be definitely interesting to see what he makes for the next one.
And could it be though that maybe the Aston Martin might not suit Kyalami, or whether it's just the driver not feeling as comfortable with the circuit?
Oh, it can definitely be.
So there's a lot of factors at play as we look at Nate's newcomer in the Lexus, car number 97, who has managed to get past, or I think, yes, he has got past Warden in the BMW and is now right on the back of Kai Banks's Mercedes as they come up the hill towards Leerkop. And it's important to get a good run out of Leerkop as you head down the mine shaft. You can really feel the steering weight up through the compression there, and then it's hard onto the brakes for the crocodiles.
If you keep it a helicam, figure we may as well get some use out of the imaginary money we're chucking at it. But yeah, currently we're looking at Eddie Warden as they head on down now along the pit straight, going past the kink now. It doesn't look like MO Plate will get the suck to try and catch up, but that McLaren, you can just see how good it is on the brakes compared to the BM as they go into turn one. You can see that gap close right up. And there's also that battle happening behind them as well, between Kops and Trebek as well. So it's getting properly tense for these two, because it's currently 3 pairs of... Oh, and there's Eddie Warden into the wall, going very sideways. That's massively unfortunate for him, as he bottles it, typical Warden style. Looking up further ahead now at P5 of Crawford Brown, trying to defend off Don Jordan in the Lexus. And yeah, going well.
That was on the retaining wall that separates the the straight between Barbecue and Sunset from the national pits at Kyalami as well.
But you could see from that accident, he just dipped the wheel slightly onto the grass. And that was all it took to unsettle the car, and off you go into the wall. And that's an easy mistake you can do around Kyalami, even in dry. In a wet more so, the outside parts of the circuit, they don't even need to be grass. Like the paving stones, they are already slidey enough, mainly in the rain. They can catch you off very easily.
Meanwhile,
We see
blue
Crawford
flag.
trying to negotiate blue flags with Dawn Jordan right up his chuff as well. It's
Yes.
yeah.
The Ferrari there in
Yeah.
front of them. Maybe.
Dahlgren does not feel like moving. Did not feel like moving for the cars that were off strategy, and does not feel like moving now.
Yeah, I'm surprised Crawford's not flashing. He always flashes everyone in the park, so he should be doing it here.
Yes, but
What?
no flashing.
Don't worry about
it. That's an interesting backstory.
Oh yeah, should everyone just at Crawford Brown in the Discord. Crawford Brown 75. Go at him. Ask him why he likes
Yeah.
flashing people in the park. Go for it.
Okay. On the other backstory, we have also Damien Wilk in the 22 Lamborghini, apparently racing with a swollen hand. Not sure if right or left or from what kind of activities, but apparently he has a swollen hand.
Oh, that's depending what hand he uses. That's going to be an absolute pain, or it could be a good thing if backdoor's an option for him.
And meanwhile, the checkered flag has come out here at Kyalami as Radek Schuller takes the win in the number 96 Honda NSX. James Lacey in second place in the number 20 Porsche. And Aaron Araday is third in the Audi, as the number 96 is currently, and quite a few drivers are pulling off the circuit at Crowthorne and Yuxke, as we're currently looking at Xavier Eugenie in the number 11 BMW M6 GT3, currently 18th place overall in the BMW, and he crosses the line. Eddie Warden just behind him as well.
Yeah, that was a fantastic race all the way through. I didn't even realise the checkered flag came up.
And also, there had been an incident, I think, on the final lap between the 23 and the 102. Warden in the 102 and the 23 being
Cops.
Yes, cops in the Lexus. So that might be getting looked at by the stewards post race.
We'll see how it goes, but yeah, that was brilliant. I didn't even realise that was going.
And now this is the part in real life where we would be attempting to work out the standings, but then again, I did journalism for a reason, because maths was not involved.
You've been doing math instead of math, have you?
Yes.
It's after work, so I don't do maths when I'm finished with work.
We leave math to the organizers to sort everything out.
Yeah, that's for the spreadsheet to do.
Yes. The yes, most maths when in journalism mainly consists of 2 + 2 and equaling 5. So it really does speak volumes. But there we are. We are getting ready now for the second race here at Kyalami. As a quick 2 minutes practice session for the drivers who want to do a quick shakedown to see how the cars are feeling. The track temperature and the air temperature are currently 22 degrees Celsius at the moment. The track is showing as being in optimum condition, so there's going to be plenty of grip for the drivers as they get ready for the second race here at Kyalami.
Yeah, just a short time to do the run towards the bathroom and back.
Yes, and we're already almost halfway through the practice session. I won't subject anybody to my singing because Racer has heard it in the past on another Discord server and can confirm it is terrible.
I have not.
Yeah,
haven't
I
you?
haven't either. No, I think you should give us a taste.
All I can say to you, Racer, is that you were either not on voice chat at the time or you're incredibly lucky, because anyone else on GT Hub who has heard me singing can confirm that I'm not exactly brilliant at it. Maybe once we're off air, I will.
Oh man.
Maybe once I'm off air, because it's probably not going to be suitable for broadcast, but...
Yeah, maybe we can get Rob for some endurance races and for some late night sessions.
Oh, I probably won't be doing any late night sessions, I don't think.
Yeah, just kidding. When is the next RWB Enduro? We get some singing going on. We can do some things for sure.
I'm sure most people really do not want to hear this.
Cause we the smart ass guessing that your math is better than your singing.
Well, my singing is pretty dreadful, and surprisingly, for someone who listens to quite a lot of heavy metal, I can't actually do the screaming either.
Oh, I'm more of a Katy Perry kind of guy.
I'm more of a more into Iron Maiden myself, but there we are.
Oh, but everyone loves Firework. Absolutely timeless classic.
I mean, everyone especially loves Hallowed Be Thy Name, especially during Halloween.
There is nothing better than going after heist with your boys in a car, listening to what is that song actually? I don't know idea, but if you turn on in the GTA 5 the non-stop pop, you know what I mean.
I just noticed Charger saying he nearly spat his beer out when I said Katy Perry. But don't lie, Charger. You listen to Katy Perry. Everyone does.
You're getting charged, killed. What are we gonna do without him?
Oh, so same order as qualifying. There's no reverse grid for this one. From race one, back out, same positions. But of course, it is a longer race. It's now 45 minutes, same pit window length. So expect to see that halfway through the race for about 15, 20 minutes, I think it is. So yeah, same positions, longer race. Let's see if anyone can do better.
Time has run out. You better have done everything in terms of preparations, because you are not getting anything else. And they are starting to roll towards the start lights yet again. Radexula, will he make another lightning start, or will Aaron Ariday not be able to cover him off again?
Yeah, I think Araday's hopefully he's caught on wise to Schuller's antics and will cover him off. But I guess time will tell as they come up now to the start-finish line towards the kink. Hopefully the lights go out at a good time.
A little bit sooner.
Yeah, a little bit sooner so the drivers can actually see it. And that's it. That's lights out and away we go. Heading down now through the kink. Currently watching Schuller going on the outside. Araday covering the inside a lot away from Brown. Brown also trying to get alongside Lacey. Looks like Schuller's going around the outside again. Manages to stick it as they go through a Chukski sweep. Getting very, very squirrely. Crawford catching up a little bit as well. Araday going very late on the brakes down the inside. Kind of slowing himself up a little bit, but that's given Lacey the run on the inside as well as they come up towards sunset. Crawford Brown also taking a position as well, managing to stick to the inside of Lacey, and that looks like it's going to be a Honda 1-2 as they go towards Clubhouse.
It is indeed looking like a Honda 1-2. Though James Lacey in the Porsche wants to try and make it a Honda 1-3 as everybody files through the S's for the first time here.
And we have a collision. We have a big one. It's all happening right now in the S's.
There's been a big coming together as cars are going absolutely left, right, centre, and every other direction you could possibly imagine. The marshals are waving the yellow flags, and you do hope some of the drivers towards the back of the field have actually seen the yellow flags waving there, as that unfortunately was a very, very big incident there at the S's.
Yeah, if only Nate Newcomer was using racing sim tools to perfect his setup, otherwise that wouldn't have happened. You gotta get the sponsors in somehow.
I want to get back to the lap 1 though, even before that. The move that Aaron Araday tried definitely took one from the books of RWB Pinpoint, those that were involved in the Saturday race, and so that definitely see a little bit of resemblance between Araday and Pinpoint. Both of them just yeeting the car into this turn 4, probably turn 3, almost taking the position. But it is a 1-2 for the Honda right now. Crawford Brown defending for his life against James Lacey. Lacey tried to go around the outside. Maybe he'll be able to do it this time, but the Porsche steps out slightly. That gives the opportunity back to Crawford Brown to seize the position. And also Aaron Araday almost tried to go around the outside of Lacey into the S's. But they saw someone attempting moves around here, and it ended in tears for many. And everyone from the top 10 survives for now.
As they come up the hill towards Leerkop corner. It's a very tricky braking zone, blind braking zone, and then in the second part of the corner, the back end of the car just wants to rotate and almost over-rotate, so it's very tricky to get a good exit out of there, down through Mineshaft and on the run towards Crocodiles.
Fighting does not stop even for P5. Don Jordan trying to improve his position over Aaron Araday, but also has the hungry Martin Schaefer in a Bentley behind him. You can see cars going into every direction coming into turn 1, trying to get any kind of advantage or any kind of different line to your opponents. But Araday holds his ground for now.
Oof, look at this. Going into turn 1, cars going side by side through, going into Crowthorne there. Got the Mercedes of Casper Nielsen centre screen, as he's currently caught up kind of in a little bit of a sandwich between the pair ahead battling and the pair behind. So it's Trebek behind fighting Mezrajewski, with Terence Helvich and Kops fighting ahead, but it looks like Kops has managed to get the position going through barbecue there.
Coming out of barbecue on the run down towards the properly quick sunset corner, and then it's hard on the brakes for what is a very short braking zone actually for Clubhouse Bend, the technical part of the older circuit, as we now look at Samuel Kruger in the McLaren as he runs a bit wide there at Leerkop, and that is enough for the Lamborghini to get a run. The 77 Lamborghini there side by side coming into Crocodiles, and the Lamborghini holds the inside line there.
Yeah, he's pulled it off.
And has pulled it off and has made the move stick at Crocodiles and through Cheetah as Kruger hits the curb a little bit too much there. It unsettles the car slightly. Going through the final corner now. He's got the Mercedes of Banks right behind him there. And Banks looking to get a good run down the pit straight. Kruger on the inside. Banks goes to the outside to try and get the undercut for Yuksky, and Banks goes off track a little bit there and stays behind the McLaren.
Yeah, it's a great job from Kruger managing to keep Kai behind as they've just come through Sunset. Kai's still trying to find any way he can around Kruger, but it looks like it's kind of an uphill battle for him as Kruger's putting the car in all the right places. Looking further ahead now at Don Jordan and this gaggle of cars with Schaefer currently trying to get up the outside, going round through Leokoff as they head on down now towards the mine shaft. But yeah, it's a close one between these guys. What do you think, Racer?
Yeah, Jordan, he was challenging every day for P4, but has slowly fallen off from that Audi, and now he needs to look more towards his back than towards the front. Martin Schaefer is looking in the rear view mirror. I'm looking at it right now. There is more danger behind Schaefer as Daniel Barnett is so close to him, and then also Emma Plate after having a really bad race 1. Tries to make up for it in the race 2, currently in P8, so much better for him right now. And fights still continuing all the way up and down the grid. Debug in P14 trying to hold on to it, although Edo Kopsche will have something to say about it, and also Daniel Merchant. All of them tucked down under the rear wing, trying to get as much of the slipstream as possible. Kopsche goes for the inside and really tight on the brakes, and that allows Merchant to maybe try and sneak around the outside, which will turn to inside for the next corner. Little bit of tap between both of them. And it looks like someone has been spun around, and that looks like that would be Daniel Merchant. Or maybe the Kopsche then, but looks like the cars have touched each other. And someone definitely was coming off worse from that collision.
Daniel Merchant, I think, because my screen is showing that there had been an incident involving Merchant's Audi and the 999 Lexus.
That would be, and out of all of that, Eddie Warden has found 2 places. Like a blind chicken to the seed, he arrived in P15.
What kind of phrase is that?
It's a turn of phrase I've never heard before.
That's great. That's class.
Well, it's funny seeing the phrases that you hear in other countries that people use.
That's a brilliant one. Currently watching Debug try and defend as they go through Cheetah from Tarantino. We've got Shirley up ahead, in fact, number 52 Ferrari getting very, very squirrely manages to catch it, but that's compromised him, giving Debug the inside line. And of course, that's also Shirley's bottlenecked everyone else, so that's given him a perfect run and a bit of a gap now from Tarantino, who's now behind Shirley, which is, that's worked out massively well for Debug.
You could see Shirley had slowing down on the apex of the final corner, and everyone had to check up, and it was just a nice domino effect of everyone hitting each other into the back.
Yes, it almost looks like something reminiscent of the lot of when British GT raced at Thruxton and the scenes in the pit lane during a safety car period, where for those who have not seen Thruxton before, the pits there are, well, they haven't changed since the 1960s, so they are fantastically cramped, and it was absolute carnage in the pit lane as cars were reversing, being pushed back, hitting each other, and it was an absolute mess, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And Meanwhile, Shirley has lost it in the Ferrari coming out of the S's. Is currently parked in the middle of the circuit, thankfully not on the racing line, as he waits for a bit of a gap and gets going again, but that has dropped him down massively. It's dropped him down to 25th place overall, as the number 996 Audi of Aaron Araday has just set the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 41.634, as we look from the helicam at Casper Nielsen in the Mercedes. Got the Bentley of Gianni Lenz right behind him as they come towards the final corner.
It's a very colourful Bentley, isn't it? You're not going to miss that in your rearview mirror.
Unfortunately
for Nielsen, he can't see him in the rearview mirror as that's now Lenz gone through at turn 1 down the inside under heavy braking. Just notice we've got Bentley 1, 2, 3 currently surrounding Nielsen, so he's not having a great time with all the boats around him. But yeah, fantastic move by Lenz going down the inside into turn 1 at Crowthorne. But of course, it's not over for Nielsen. Yeah, it's not over for Nielsen though. He's still got Intenza looking up behind him as he goes a little bit onto the grass. But that's given Intenza the inside line now for Clubhouse.
There's been, I think, a slight bit of contact involving the 20 and the 3 as Nielsen goes very far over the inside at Sunset.
Yeah, that's very far inside.
And he's doing everything he can to keep the 59 Bentley, and has even resorted to trying to take a little bit of a shortcut there through the S's. Hasn't paid off. He's lost 2 positions to the number 59 Bentley and the number 4 as well. Meanwhile, we look at James Lacey, who is in and Aaron Araday all battling for second place at the moment.
Crawford Brown, he's doing really good work for his teammate Radek Shula, holding up the giant train that is behind him. Lacey, Araday, Jordan, Kiefer, all of them stuck behind the Honda with no place to go. Maybe now James will try to go around the outside, but Crawford just shows him the door, says not through this time around. And James will definitely want to dive into the pit lane as soon as possible. Or at least do the opposite towards Crawford Brown.
Yes,
going down
Crawford
the inside
Brown there.
Yeah. Manages to get it.
Crawford Brown was doing his very best Jarno Trulli impression. For those enough who are old enough to have been watching Formula One in the early to mid 2000s, it was a very common sight to see Jarno Trulli holding up other drivers behind him as Crawford Brown tries to go around the outside at Crocodiles, doesn't quite pull it off. Aaron Araday goes through into 3rd place as they come up towards Cheetah, which is not an overtaking opportunity in the slightest, and now it's hard onto the brakes for the final corner and onto the long pit straight here at Kyalami.
Not an overtaking opportunity, he says.
And there's coming up now turn 1, because that kink really is not a corner. And Brown decides to have a look at the inside of Araday. Araday's on the inside for Yusuke. And defends very well, but Crawford Brown having a look at the inside into Barbecue Ben. There's a bit of contact. He pushes Araday into the gravel at the exit of Barbecue, and Araday has lost a good 4 positions at least there. After that contact from Crawford Brown, Martin Schaefer has moved up into 4th, Brown 5th, Barnett 6th in the Porsche, and then Araday, who is not going to be too happy, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's not a happy bunny sitting in that Audi. Wonder if Crawford's going to be a bit hot under the collar, as well as Araday, because they both lost out on that. I'll say it's an opportunistic move from Brown, but of course you have to get your head back on and keep pushing forward.
It's just
One
the
of
nature
those
of that
low
corner, it
percentage.
invites you for these kind of moves. It's just like, yeah, it's good, you can dive, and then you just notice that the corner is tightening up ever so more and more and more, and halfway through the move you're thinking, I should not have done that.
Yeah, it did look as if it was a fairly low percentage lunge there into barbecue. It's not normally much of an overtaking opportunity as the Bentley of Martin Chafel's closing up to the Lexus of Jordan there. As we've got cars already coming out of the pit lane, having served their mandatory pit stop during the pits window, which is now open, as they are all staying very much to the inside. They're not wanting to get in the way of this battle and then some on track at the moment. Kai Banks, I've just noticed, has pitted the Mercedes, so he will be moving down the field somewhat, and the number 13 Mercedes has also pitted as well, as has Will Day in the Porsche. As we go on board now with Crawford Brown coming through Clubhouse Bend and towards the S's. There's a slower car in front of them which gets out of the way. And it's now the run up the hill towards Learcop, normally looking for roughly where that marshal's post on the inside is there, as he just is right there with the Porsche. It looked from the camera angle as if there may have been the slightest bit of contact, but it's not showing up. I don't think there was any contact there.
Well, if there was, it must have been the slightest contact possible between them.
Yeah, indeed. There's been a slight bit of contact between the two and the 23, as we ride on board still with Crawford Brown in the NSX, which is shown as a Honda here, but is also raced in America under the Acura brand, as he goes for a move up the inside of Daniel Barnett in the Porsche. He's got Martin Chafer's Bentley in front of him. And
that's all gone wrong. That's all gone
that's
kinds
all
of wrong.
gone very wrong, and it looks like there was just a slight tap there from Daniel Barnett that sent Crawford spinning around.
Araday's been involved in that as well. I saw the Audi getting involved. Barnett, Araday, and Brown, and no doubt there is going to be some pretty heated words post-race, I would imagine, amongst those three drivers.
Interesting, looking at the investigations that are going to happen after the race. The stewards will have lots of work to do.
I really do not envy the stewards at all in trying to ascertain who was at fault for what there, and thanks to them for helping to ensure that this race goes ahead. It's very much appreciated by everyone.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a ton of work for those guys, but yeah, at the end of the day, these guys get to win brilliant racing on a Monday, Tuesday, I think Wednesdays as well, Saturdays, nearly every day of the week. So fantastic stuff. Was you see Eddie going off track to, well, he wasn't going off track, he was just going for the pit lane, wasn't he?
And yes, he's a very early way of making one's intent clear that you would like to pit. Running ever so slight. Well, I could make a statement about BMW drivers, but I won't. Besides, it's not so much BMW drivers that have the rep in the UK these days. It's apparently Audi drivers.
It's all of them. They're all the same.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. You know,
you have to preserve the fluid for the blinkers. You can't blink it all out. so fast.
Currently watching Gianni Lenz trying to fend off Kai Banks, but it looks like Kai's managed to get the move done before even getting to Sunset. Getting the move nice and done, nice and clean actually, as Gianni Lenz slightly compromised himself, but just behind him he's got Mad Al and Intenza batting it out in the Honda/Acura and the Bentley as well, right behind them.
Mad Owl, he's a ruthless opponent. Maybe a bit too ruthless at some point for being a head steward of the RWB. He can be quite tough to get past or even defend from.
Yeah, somehow, like we just saw that right there. Mad Al, I thought Intenza had that position, but Al just took it right back at Learkov. But I'm absolutely surprised that he made that stick. Because I thought, yeah, I thought P15 was Intenza's there.
Oh, if there is a spin, I think, from Lenz, or what at least looked like a sideways moment from the Bentley. Gianni, yeah, he has that leaded foot, and not easiest thing to work with when you just slam the gas as hard as possible. But Atenza will definitely be 100% on that pedal, trying to get past Mad Al.
And another thing to bear in mind as well with these modern GT3 cars is that they are designed to be driven with traction control and with anti-lock brakes. The modern systems, as the number 79 goes a little bit wide coming through Cheetah and slightly compromises the line going into the final corner. The Bentley behind has got a good exit indeed, and Simon is going to have a look up the inside down to first gear for Crowthorne, up to second, maybe third for Yuk Sky, and then back down through the box again for Barbecue, but hasn't quite been able to get it done there. Good defending from the 79 Aston Martin.
Well, and
Very
they
good
have now
defending.
Mercedes for a company. What looks to be Matt Sjöblom, the reserve driver? No, Matt is the full-time driver for the Mercedes squad. Not just Matt's being slowly moving mobile chicane. The drivers need to get around. We can resume the fight. Mierzejewski and Tribek. Tribek almost had him once. But see now, slightly better line through the... You said this name many times, but I forgot it already.
Learkop.
Yeah, I'm not gonna remember that as fast. I need a little bit more of Kyalami sessions. Through the crocodiles we go. Mierzejewski keeps the position. Tribek tries maybe a different line, but cannot get the car to turn in through the corners. Mierzejewski goes wide yet again. He really likes that gravel trap with the grass. But the car is not gonna go faster through there, that's for sure.
It's a very easy thing to do as a driver as well, is try and take Cheetah as if the sausage curb isn't there. You take the amount of curb you can on the inside, and then all of a sudden, because of the extra speed you're carrying, you end up running slightly wide, as we now are looking at Nico Perez in the BMW. He's got a Lamborghini for company, Damien Wilk. I believe that is. Yes, indeed it is. And Wilk goes through into 30th place in the number 22 Lamborghini as Perez comes down through towards Crocodiles. And we're now back with Simon Trebek in the number 81 Bentley. He is trying still to find a way through. He's got Eddie Warden for company in the BMW for good measure as well. With just under 7 minutes of the pit window remaining, the temperature is increasing here at Kyalami as well. 28 degrees air temperature, 29 track temperature. And the forecast is set fair as well.
Very opportunistic move from Eddie, taking full advantage of Trebek going wide, and that's given Eddie the position going through Crocodiles. Very well done.
Been a incident involving the 23 and the 7. The yellow flags were briefly out earlier, but it's all been resolved as Trebek in 20th place in the Bentley is trying to see if he can find a way past cars ahead of him as Warden goes up the inside of the Aston Martin there on the way into Crowthorne. He makes it stick, and Warden, in the space of a couple of laps, if that, has gone up to 18th place.
Yeah, sorry, Racer, I've hidden the fridge from you. I need it.
How dare you hide the fridge of the beer in front of me?
Well, it's good old British tenants, so yeah, I thought you wouldn't like it.
Oh,
It's the proper stuff.
Not like British beer. It needs to be Czech beer or Belgian beer.
What if I told you it was
That's
Scottish beer?
Scottish make beer?
McEwen's?
Yeah, tenants. It's the good stuff.
I would have to test that to see if it's good stuff.
And meanwhile,
Or maybe I
Trebek
should better get my father to test that as a local beer expert.
we'll have to let Rob say some racing stuff. 'Cause I feel like he's going to burst.
Yes, Simon Trebek has just taken advantage there of a mistake by the number 79 Aston Martin and has moved up into 19th place. There, the pass coming, I want to say it was at Learcop, but it was only recently, and he's now going to be trying to close the gap to Eddie Warden in the BMW. I'm terribly sorry about interrupting the beer discussion there. I was going to say, McEwen's or Super Tenants, as the James Lacey in the Porsche has come into the pits there for his pit stop. Whilst the pit window is still open, Schuller is still leading in the NSX from Jordan and Schaefer. Place is now up to fourth, in the McLaren, and Lemke is rounding out the top 5 in the Lamborghini. And that was your Racing Sim Tools mid-race update.
Oh god, are we doing this right now?
Well, you know, when you've got a great sponsor like Racing Sim Tools who do some amazing setup work for cars on ACC, and they have great data insights for all kinds of sims, you need to put them in because they are properly good stuff, and I use them all the time for endurance races. So you have to. Oh yeah, SimSock.
Yeah,
SimSock
well,
for your racing sock needs, which are actually all the good.
Brought to you by Credit One Bank.
Yeah, please do check out the sponsors because they do make this all happen. All these races happen, and if you do want to join in the races, join the RWB International Discord. All the relevant links are in the description and found on the channel, as we see Jordan going into the pits.
For his mandatory pit stop, which will elevate Martin Schaefer up into second place, which it does. Schaefer is currently second in the quite frankly, you're not going to miss that if you see it in your rearview mirror. Something the size of the Bentley, and with the front end painted in bright yellow, you're gonna notice it. Put it that way. With
that car makes me wish I could not see it.
Don't be like that. You put in tons of effort into painting it yellow. You got the spray paint and everything from Halfords.
I mean, the yellow is actually quite good. It's just the rest of the car that makes me question many things.
Oh, is it the Union Jack? Are you one of those people?
I don't mind the Union Jack. Like, if you want to use that, that's fine to me. But it's the color. It's
Yeah, it is the colour.
the
It's a very
fully
bold.
chrome pink with the blue wheels.
It's very, very bold, isn't it?
As Mr. Lenz said, you can't miss us. We are masters of making bad-looking great cars. The TRRD, or third for much shorter pronunciation, team, yeah, they've been all in on this. Well, is it weird? Probably this looking style of the cars.
Yeah, we didn't have that back when I was head of Audi last season. It was all very. You used the the Belgian WRT liveries. It's all very nice and coordinated. And now, oh man, that's that team principles made it all go downhill. If you ask me.
That's one part of the constructors that I always enjoy to see is the cars being somewhat similar looking, like at least the same kind of colors, liveries. It makes all of the team structure go much better towards together. And some team principals are better at it, some are a bit worse at it. For example, the last season's BMW, the team was fully kitted out with like the colors, which worked quite nicely. And
Yeah, you guys had your private test sessions and everything. I was never that coordinated.
oh yeah, we had everything. We had the preseason. What was it? Preseason like press release, I think, or something like that.
Oh god,
But
that
I was
just brings
just
back memories of the
yeah,
12
but
hours.
I was just too lazy to make the season-ending press release.
I mean, given that one of your fellow co-commentators this evening, Racer, has a sports journalism degree.
Oh yeah, I mean, we need to employ you as like a official journalizer. Journalizer? Yes, I made a word right now. Official journalist of the RWB.
I mean, to be fair, during the Spa 12 hours last year, I did do a coordinated press release for everyone who was racing from GT Hub, which meant having to try and find out when people's final stints were, so I didn't accidentally ping them mid-race, which is never ideal anywhere, especially at Spa-Francorchamps.
Yeah, Spa's brutal. The RWB
yes.
12-hour was absolutely that was brutal as well. But yeah, we'll see how it goes for the next 12-hour race, which I think is in November. No, it's sooner than that. I think. I really should know.
Charger, reserve me a spot there. I'll be there, sure.
Oh, meanwhile, Simon Trebek in the Bentley is right on the back of Mad Owl in the Honda NSX, currently fighting out for 16th place here with 11 minutes and 10 seconds to go, coming up to the final corner now. Trying to set it
Trebek's
up.
absolutely hounding the back of Mad Owl, but as we've seen before, Mad Owl doesn't really crack too often. Especially recently, his form is upped massively, so he doesn't really crack under pressure. But you can see that train behind Trebek, as Trebek's still trying to get a move done, but you've still got Dominic and the Aston Martin behind trying to make a move on Trebek himself.
And Warden has cleared off into the middle of next week from this battle. He's got well over 2 seconds, and just wait for the timing to update. It's now over 3 seconds, I think, between himself and Mad Al in 16th, as Al is really proving to be the cork in the bottle, so to speak, here.
Yeah, Al's really doing a fantastic job defending Trebek off if the Godzilla car's behind. He just needs to hope that Dominic makes a move on Trebek and allows him to build a gap up so he can try and start focusing on catching up to Warden rather than defending, because, I mean, when you're defending, you just lose so much time to the car ahead. It's just, this is a pain.
Well, that's the art of defending, keeping your position without compromising too much of your lap time.
Is that Sun Tzu?
No, that's Racer Soul.
I was going to say, I think Sun Tzu's book was a little bit different.
Well, war and racing is not so much different from each other.
True.
It's still people trying to take something from the others, one way or another.
Meanwhile,
Very
keeping
true.
an eye on what's going on just ahead of this battle between Warden and... Not yet, and I think it's still very close between them. It's just over 1/10 of a second in it. I will provide an update on that once the timing has updated itself. If I have any... And Warden has indeed got the position made. He is now up to 14th place in the BMW as we go. We focus on MO plate in the 71 McLaren. He's got Lemke in the Lamborghini right behind him, and there's less than 0.3 of a second separating them. As plate stays to the inside to try and make Lemke go the long way around Crowthorne, up the hill through Yuxke and into Barbecue Bend. It's not the best exit from plate, and Lemke knows it and gets a run on him, and in fact has got the pass made well before Sunset Corner.
Yeah, it's brilliant stuff from Lemke. He's managed to keep it all the way up to the top of Leocop at the top of the hill. But unfortunately for plate, that means he's now under pressure from Jordan behind as well. And meanwhile, Lemke is actually pulling a gap to plate, so that gap is slowly increasing as plate defends from Jordan. So it's going great for Lemke, but not so great for plate, who's unfortunately missed out on that. But he should still keep. Unfortunately, at this rate, he will lose out on championship lead to Radek Schuller, who's running pristinely in P1. He's not had any bother whatsoever. He's about 7 seconds ahead of Lacey, who's the P2 man.
Meanwhile, looking a little bit further back, Aaron Araday, who is involved in the incidents earlier on in the race, is currently in P10, or showing as being in P10 at the moment. And there's not much in it between him and Kruger in another of the McLarens. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Well, McLaren's being in the fight against the Volkswagen group all the day today.
It's a pretty big group, to be honest. It's about a third of the group. A third of the cars out there are actually part of VAG.
Funnily enough, the Audi and the Lamborghini are in the same team.
I mean, they're pretty much the same car as well. So.
Don't tell that to the fans. They'll eat us alive.
It's true. If you strip down an Audi and a Lamborghini and put one of the VAG engineers in front of it, they won't be able to tell which one's which because they're pretty much the exact same car.
But hey, as long as it works.
Yeah, if it works, it works.
Yeah. Araday appears to be just dropping off slightly from the back of Kruger. As I say that, he gets a little bit closer there, coming out of Sunset through Clubhouse now. He's definitely closing the gap as they head towards the S's. And coming up into Learcop now. Really closes the gap there. Kruger has to get a good exit out of the corners to try and stop Araday from considering a move into the Crocodiles. Come down through the mine shaft, and and they're both hard on the brakes there for the Crocodiles. Coming up now to Cheetah with the big sausage curb, both of them cleanly through there, and hard on the brakes for the final corner.
Oh, only 4 minutes left on the clock. Not a lot of time for these guys to get a move on and get their positions made. But yeah, Kruger's doing a fantastic job holding off Araday. Meanwhile, slightly up ahead, we've got Emo Plate still defending from Jordan, just behind. But yeah, Jordan doesn't seem to be able to get the move done. Plate doing a fantastic job at defending. But there is a cracking moment at every driver stage, and we just saw it there as Emo Plate goes very wide at Learcop, giving the place to Don Jordan at the top of the hill.
And now Jordan can set his signs onto the Lamborghini of Lemke in front of him. Maybe, but Emo Plate does not give up right now. He lost the position, but he did not lose the fighting spirit. Now one McLaren has cracked under the pressure. Let's see what the other one can do.
Kruger is putting up a stout defence there from Araday, as Araday, I think, makes a little bit of a mistake there. Gets on the power a little bit too early through the Crocodiles and loses a bit of momentum as the back end of the car breaks loose, but he goes wide, a little bit wide there, I think, at the apex at the final corner, which makes me wonder if the tyres are starting to go a little bit on the Audi. Meanwhile, we're currently looking at Mad Al in the Honda. He's still got Simon Trebek behind him, but he's properly closed up to the Lexus in front of him as they come up towards Crocodiles now in what has been a fantastic race so far.
Yeah, it's been absolutely stellar so far, but it's not over yet. We've still got about two laps left. So yeah, we've still got Mad Al defending from Trebek, but he's also still trying to push up and get a position off Copse for P15. But I think P14 from Eddie Warden is going to be a bit of a tough one, as that's a hefty gap between P15 and P14 between the BMW and the Lexus. So fantastic stuff from Copse so far, keeping Mad Al behind. But of course, Mad Al needs to try and watch out for Trebek making an opportunistic move if Mad Al slips.
And it's like a classic bit of British touring car action. You've got train of cars, drivers defending and attacking at the same time, and the defending from Mad Al means that the Lexus has just managed to eke out a little bit of a gap coming out of Barbecue into towards Sunset Bend. As we now look at Crawford Brown in the NSX, he's got Kai Banks behind him in the Mercedes. Both getting a good run onto the pit straight from the final corner here. And the NSX does appear to be a little bit faster in a straight line. And this long run break just before, a little bit before the 100-meter board, heading into Crowthorne. And we go up the hill now through Yuxkay and miss the first apex at Barbecue, hit the second apex, and Banks closes the gap there, coming down past the national pits and into the properly fast Sunset Bend, and he really closes on the back of the NSX there. It's a short straight, short braking zone, almost side by side. Crawford Brown keeping the inside line protected there, coming down through the first part of the S's, heading up into the second part of the S's, and on the run up to Learcop, where you really have to get a good exit from this corner if you want to try and make a run down through Mineshaft into the Crocodiles. And meanwhile, Copsia has made a little bit of a mistake there, I think, coming out of Barbecue Bend. And we now look at the 59 Bentley. Oh, there is so much action going on.
Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm really struggling here.
Well, we have ticked on to the final lap. So not too long before Radek takes the checkered flag yet again in this season. And he's just continuing from where he left off in season 2 when it was a GT3 only season. He then went into the GT4 division of BMW, taking the title there. Now he's back at it yet again.
Trebek's made it past both Copsia and Mad Owl. But Mad Owl is going to try and take the position from Copsia. He's got the move done well before the Crocodiles, as Crawford Brown is still defending from Kai Banks as they go through Sunset. We're waiting to see where the race leader is. The race leader, Radek Schuller, is coming up now towards the final corner as we speak on the Dancing Ants track map I have here on Pitwall, and he is about to cross the line to win the second race here at Kyalami. He has dominated the weeks running here and takes a very, very well-deserved victory in the Honda NSX. Meanwhile, we go back to the battle between Brown and Banks for 7th place. Lacey has crossed the line to finish in 2nd. We're just seeing them through now.
Very squirrely on exit from Kai Banks. They come across the line. Crawford Mansion stick ahead. Got another battle happening between Aaron Araday and Daniel Barnett. It was a big battle between those two, but that's them now across the line. Still got Mad Al with Copsig close behind as well, so go through the lead.
Al has got the move done on Copsig. Trebek might be a little bit too far in front for them though, although Warden is even further in front of them. I'm having a quick look down through the overall on the screen to see who is where and if there are any close battles. This is the closest battle on track as Copsia really closes the gap as Mad Owl defends very stoutly, puts it on the inside line, and they touch going through into the final corner. But Mad Owl has done enough to hold off Copsia for 16th place overall here at Kyalami.
Oof. What a race all the way through. That was mental.
It was entertaining for sure. These drivers never disappoint.
Yeah, that was brilliant all the way through. Some fantastic stuff. What would you say is your highlight from today, guys?
Probably the starts of Radek Shula again. He's just so consistent on the starts. You can't rest when you are like anywhere around him. Mainly, you might be in P1, he's in P2, but you still know in the back of your head he's gonna get a jump. He's gonna get a good jump. You really need to be on your toes, and this has won him races.
Yeah, 100%. It's just been absolutely brilliant. How about you, Rob? What has been your highlights of today?
I think it's just been really close competitive racing across the entire field, which has been kind of one of the standout things for me so far. Kyalami is a track that really promotes good racing. There's plenty of overtaking opportunities, and everyone was making really good use of that today.
Yeah, I've absolutely loved it. But yeah, I hope everyone out there watching enjoyed it as well. If you did, then tune in next week for the 5th round of the Constructors Championship. There we'll find out exactly, well, after all the math boffins do their maths and spreadsheets and shit, they'll be able to tell us who's actually in, well, the overall standings. But I'm pretty sure that's Schiller now up into the championship lead ahead of Plate. So we'll bring you all up to speed for that. But yeah, thank you to all our sponsors for keeping this going. And if you want to tune in on Saturday as well, can't remember exactly what is on Saturday. Do you know, Racer? I'm pretty sure you've been following up to speed more than I have.
Saturday should be, I do believe, Paul Ricard.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, there's Nate to confirm that it is Paul Ricard. So thanks everyone for watching, and we look forward to seeing you then.